Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today is the WNR520. It's WWE King and Queen of the Ring. I'm not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, hello. I know it feels like so long since we've actually done one of these. We've got a lot to catch up on today.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I've missed your voice, but again, it has been a
Yeah,
long time, so, you know.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you'll get sick of it sooner rather than later.
That's already happened. Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. How's it going, man? Pulling double duty this weekend.
Yeah, pulling double duty, surviving. Definitely looking forward to talking about this. Well, I was about to say just this show, but we always do a string of shows. But yeah, man, the NXT show was a lot of fun. Like you said, it's been a while. Get back into that mode, so it's cool. Now it's time to bring that energy into this show. We'll see if I do it because I don't know how I'm even up right now. So,
Well, to be fair, it's a bonus only being like a week old show as opposed to 2 months. So we already got head start.
Yeah. If I could be excited about something from Stand and Deliver, which is Mania weekend, I should be able to muster up something for last week. I agree.
Without a doubt. And last but by no means least, well, they say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow. Well, I don't know if all that's true, because you got me, and baby, I got you. Babe, I got you, babe. I've got you, babe. I've got you, babe. I've got you, babe. I've got you, babe. Oh, I have enough of that. It is Gina, of course, the share to my Sonny.
Yeah.
How's it going, Gina?
I got you, babe. I loved that, James. That's going to be our new personal track, okay?
Oh,
I got you,
much.
babe.
I was going to do the rest of it, but it's quite bad when it's only one-sided. So, again, it would just be in spaces.
I would offer, but guys, I really cannot sing. Honestly, I would offer to sort of meet James in the middle here and sing along with him on half of the songs that I do know. But I cannot sing. So you just get me appreciating it at the end. And that's all.
I mean, to be fair,
stopping
Gina...
him.
No. Monty, as Ginny just said, not everybody has got a perfect singing voice like I have. You know, like, it's trained professionally.
I mean, I didn't say it in the words.
You did. I'm a true triple threat.
Yeah?
Apart from dancing,
Okay.
you know, that was always a problem. Just, nightmares from an Oliver Twist audition. But we're not about that. Gina, it's been a while. You're back. We're doing King and Queen of the Ring. It's an exciting time.
It is exciting times. I swear that it feels like we just did WrestleMania still for me. So this really feels like new territory again. But I'm ready, so let go.
I'm not going to lie. This script was called Backlash for a little while until I realised we'd already done that, and we have moved on to King and Queen. So if I do say that during the show, I apologise. But like you said, it feels WrestleMania was a long time ago, but only just recently as well. But this is our second show this weekend. Of course, we've got Double or Nothing next weekend. So all these people moaning about not having enough podcasts, there you go, 3 in a month already. But this is all about King and Queen of the Ring today. So we're going to look at Raw and, of course, first round matches. And Jey Uso replacing the surefire winner, Drew McIntyre, beating Finn Balor. Leah beating Ricochet in an absolute incredible match. Now, Jaxie, I asked you this because me and Monty... we cream over the ear all the time, but this match versus Ricochet shows what both men could do. But what an introduction.
I mean, yeah, seriously, what an introduction for Ilya onto the main roster. But again, just Ricochet proving time and again at how much of a banger of a match he can really put on and what he can really do. He's one of those underappreciated talents, I would say. That you don't really... a lot of people don't give him enough praise for like the type of matches he can put on. But we are starting to see that, and I think a lot more appreciation for Ricochet as a wrestler is being shown. And yeah, like this was just a great match between the two of them. I'd like to see a second match between them shortly soon, So it was great.
Well, and Raw was a gift that kept on giving because Gina, not only did we have, like I said, Ilya versus Ricochet, but then Sheamus losing to Gunther. Of course, we saw it at the Clash, but it's still chilling to watch, even if it's on TV, just the amount of punishment Sheamus takes.
Oh, for sure. It definitely, I think what this match gave us was, a bit of deja vu when going back to the Clash and seeing that match between them both. I wouldn't say it was on the same caliber, but it was still so great to see them both come back into this ring. And I had such high expectations for the match because of how good of a first match they did have at the Clash, that to be honest, it didn't disappoint me, but it did. The devastation that Sheamus was taking, I was like, Sheamus better come back in a few weeks or a few months and have another banger with Gunther here and take him out himself. I would happily see these two fight again in a few weeks and Sheamus get the win. And then Gunther get the win again next time. And they just keep going back and forth, I really am excited that Sheamus is back. And I'm looking forward to seeing more fights between the two.
Without a doubt, they can moving on to kind of feud with Ludwig and that going on there. And like you said, we don't need it week in, week out. But if it's every couple of months, you see this match, you go, fucking hell, that's going to be a banger. Over the women's first round, Io Sky beat Natalya. Zoe Stark beat Ivy Nile. Elia Valkyria beating Dakota Kai. Now, Monty, I got to say I was wrong because I didn't think Elia Valkyria would do that well in kind of NXT UK. Or, compared to where she is now on the main roster, it's an incredible rise.
Yeah, man, it's kind of cool. I think from our perspective too, since we kind of watched that run and her injury and all of that towards the end of NXT UK, and then we saw her entire run of NXT. We've watched her climb through the ranks in multiple ways, and now basically, all the way from just like you said, kind of just being a new face and having, potential, but not necessarily seeing what seems to be her destiny now, and to the point to where she's pretty much Becky Lynch's protege, and now you're on Raw, and you just like you said, being in this tournament and been having prominent matches immediately upon debuting, and a solid match against Dakota Kai. That honestly, I wish would have went longer because I just like watching Dakota Kai work and watching them both go at each other. It was barely 10 minutes, but it was really, really, really good. And like you said, from the perspective of just watching her rise throughout NXT and all the way from NXT UK, it's been one of those pleasant, but it's one of those. It's a surprise, but it's very, very pleasant because, again, neither one of us. Not saying that she was bad at the beginning. It's just neither one of us probably saw her being one of the biggest shining stars from NXT UK already. You know what I mean? We talked about Blair so much, and I know Blair got hurt too. Blair Davenport got injured, but think about it. They both kind of got injured in NXT UK and went through NXT, and then look at where Lyra is, and Blair's also just debuting, but. Yeah, man, it's really, really cool when you think about everything that we watched her go through over the last few years.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And again, we're going to talk about a lot more on the show. But SmackDown first round, Jax beat Naomi, Jay Cargill beat Piper Niven, Belair beat LeRae, and the first round for the men, Mello beat Corbin, Tamatonga beat Angelo Dawkins, and Orton beat AJ. And again, Jaxie, not really many surprises on SmackDown, but again, setting the stage for what we see later.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think boys necessarily need to be, absolute bangers every single time, to the point where we've got with what we've got coming up. But I think it just did what it needed to set the stage for King and Queen.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. And then on the house show, Baszler, Liv, LA Knight, and Kofi qualified. On Raw, Drew wants Priest. It was good to see Lillian Garcia, actually. Should mention that. Quarterfinal, Gunther beat Kofi, and Jey Uso beat Ilya.
Can I also just say that was awesome to see Lillian Garcia as a female fan, and for the era that I started watching wrestling, Lillian Garcia was the G for me. Every time she was involved, for some reason, every time I think of her is that time when she announced Triple H as the previous heavyweight champion. And he chased her to the ring, and she ran so flash. She should have auditioned for the Flash. Seriously, she was out of that place. But it was awesome to see Lillian back. So shout out to her.
Yeah, I saw one earlier as well with Lily Garcia with Kane coming out, and she announced him as, "Here comes Steve." And again, it's just great that we can kind of look back and see. But again, this is, Lillian Garcia, Samantha Irvin can run because of kind of Lillian Garcia. And even back in the Attitude Era, wasn't kind of used in that, bra and panties type way. Was quite serious as well. But like we talk about the quarterfinals as well, Gunther beating Kofi, Joseph beating Ia. I mean, Monty, is that the right decision? I mean, I know a lot of people wanted Dragunov and Gunther at the semi-final, but was that too soon?
I think it's the right decision because honestly, I think people they were overflating the loss. Like Jey Uso is literally pretty much the second babyface if you're going off popularity in the company. Whether people think he belongs to be there, but he's literally right behind Cody as far as popularity. And we all been on the ride with Jey Uso, so I'm not surprised. And then if this was Drew in that spot, would people have been as mad if Dragunov lost to Drew right there?
No,
hell no, you wouldn't have been.
Drew would have smashed
exactly.
him,
you wouldn't have been mad because Dragunov has to prove himself and on the main roster. And I also just believe with limited bill. You remember what Austin walked out for in 2002 or whatever? It's a similar thing. Austin walked out because they wanted to book him against Brock in the King of the Ring tournament instead of giving it an actual storyline. We all know the history. Yes, it would have been cool. But for certain casuals who may not have ever seen these two guys kill each other in NXT UK and at the takeover match that we all know about that was so special. Again, I think it's just better off to make it wait, and it's gonna pay off itself. I think everybody's waiting for that encounter when they finally meet up again, and I think it's gonna be special when it happens. But I don't think they needed to rush it. I don't have a problem with him losing to Jey Uso. Even if some people thought maybe they could have protected him even more, I think when we look back on it, it won't even be that big of a deal. But yeah, I thought this was actually the right move, even if I guess if you're just going off names on paper and who we respect as full-fledged wrestlers, it sounds crazy that Jey Uso would beat him. But it don't. If you think about how Jey Uso has been presented, it makes a lot of sense. And also, I know we kind of going through these, but what I love the most about this entire thing is how much time and how much dedication to the just wrestling on these shows that we were getting post Backlash. Like, you gotta understand, the King of the Ring tournament is something that's always had the potential to be this prominent of a feature. So I'm really, really cool. It felt like a new era because I just remember plenty of times where the King of the Ring tournament just wasn't as compelling, or we also know when it didn't even happen. So the fact that we was getting this type of quality in both divisions was pretty awesome to me week to week. It really had me ready to watch Raw and SmackDown every week for like leading up to King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring.
That's an excellent point as well. And again, it's something I should have mentioned is the fact that like the King of the Ring, like even for me, and again, of course, with Triple H and stuff like that, it's him winning, it's Austin winning in a 316 speech. But again, it's not been like that for the last 20 years. Like I said, the last King of the Ring pay-per-view, 2002, I know we had, certain things recently in Saudi Arabia, but this feels like you said a real start to it. And again, with the people involved.
And some of them happened all in the same night. Some of them King of the Ring tournaments back in the day happened all in the same night.
Yeah, well, and again, and all adopt the King gimmick, which we'll see going forward as well. But anyway, quarterfinal on Raw as well. Live Valkyria beats Zoe Stark. Carlito wants in and help the Judgment Day become number contender. And Io Sky beat Shayna Baszler. Jaxie, I got to ask you, were your hopes up just a little bit? And you thought maybe this is Baszler's chance?
Of course. Definitely. I was thinking to myself, this is now Triple H, Paul Levesque era. Are we actually going to get belief in Shayna again? Short-lived.
But we didn't, yeah. SmackDown quarterfinal, Bianca Belair beat Tiffany Stratton. I don't know what's more weird, really. Jay Cargill losing to Nia Jax via DQ, or Tama's Weird Noise beating LA Knight in the other quarterfinal. I mean, Gina, this is definitely saying, with Cargill losing by DQ, kind of makes sense a little bit, but kind of like you said, Belair and Jax make sense as we move on.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard because, like you said, it's kind of, I don't know how to feel about it. We know that Jade has to take some losses here or there, you know. They're not all robots here. They're all going to have to take an L at some point. I know they want to protect her because she's new. She's new in the company. They want her to have this strong streak and not look like she loses quite quickly. So I also get that. Obviously, a disqualification was the easiest way to go here. I think it would be great to have another one-on-one versus Nia and Jade, because Nia definitely pushed some buttons with Jade, especially, you know, getting in her daughter's face and screaming at her daughter. So they're definitely building a feud there, and it would be good if we did get another match between them both where we can see a clean win from one or the other. But I also get them thinking, right, it's too soon for Jade to get a loss here, but she does need to lose this because we don't want to do Bianca versus Jade, especially because they're champions right now. So again, they will at some point give us Bianca versus Jade, because we saw how lit that kind of stare off was at the Royal Rumble. But again, that's not going to happen anytime soon because they're tag champs. So right now they're like, we can't do that in the King of the Ring, or Queen of the Ring, tournament. Jax is going to have to get this win. That was probably the easiest and best way that they could have gone about Jade losing, is having a DQ. I'm not entirely mad at it. You know, part of me was wondering whether someone else was going to get involved and that was then going to cause this DQ, which I would have been more angry at. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't have somebody else get themselves involved in the match, and that it was still just between Nia and Jade, and it was just DQ'd because of the equipment that was used, etc. But yeah, it's disappointing for Jade, but I also am quite glad that Jax is getting this push, because I feel like she deserves it. Ever since coming back, she's just been there, you know, and I feel like she needs to be pushed.
Yeah, well, we talked about that in a second. Solo's had a haircut, just in case. I guess he was sick of the memes and everything like that. And then Randy Orton beating
who's
Carmelo.
had a haircut?
Solo had a haircut.
Oh, Solo. Sorry. I heard something else different. But Tamatonga as well. It's probably Tamatonga's sound that made Solo get the haircut.
Yeah, he thought, I don't want to have that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Monty, I'll ask you, a lot of people may be upset Melo lost to Orton, but again, like you were saying about Ilya Dragunov, Melo kind of needs to build, and just being in the ring with someone like Orton helps.
100%. And also, it was such a smart way. I mean, Randy, by the way, and we'll talk about it again later, but Randy's selling and everything he's been doing since returning back, you can just tell, like, same thing like Adam. I talk about Adam Copeland on our AEW show, but same thing with him. You can just tell they kind of in that phase where they got it figured out. Of the little things, you know, the selling, like Randy Orton with his knee, and how instead of just selling the knee and still doing moves on that knee, he tries to keep his opponent away from the knee, or he does little things to just little things that just make him seem so smart. And the same thing about setting up the RKO in this match. You know, he was smart enough to counter the flying clothesline that Melo hit earlier. You know, it's little things that just, again, that not only make Melo look like a threat because Randy kind of had to survive, but it also just, again, make Randy look like the veteran, which he is. So it was really, really cool. And if you think about how they're depicting Melo, he's cocky. He's that new guy. Like, even with this little angle he had with Bobby before Bobby got injured, you can tell he's arrogant. He's being that new guy that don't want to take advice from anyone or don't want to hear anything that any of the vets has to say. And I think that's the perfect guy to have come close but not be able to defeat someone to the status of Randy Orton yet. But that doesn't mean they can't revisit this down the line when Melo can establish himself further on SmackDown. But I think this is a really, really good match. And again, just like I said with Dragunov, just enough to show you that these guys are the future, but, you know, they're not quite able to get these big victories yet. And that's fine in my opinion, because we can tell, just like what you just mentioned in the women's division, it's a lot of stuff that's being built for later. And I think that's one of those things. They'll be able to pick up those victories down the line.
We get Logan and Cody signing a contract for just one title on Raw. Gable beat Zayn thanks to Otis. And in semi-final action, Nia Valkyria upset Io Sky and Gunther beat Jey Uso. Jaxie, were these the right results for you? And what are your thoughts on Nia Valkyria as well? Because obviously, you know, coming up, is it a case of maybe being pushed too soon? I don't know what you think.
So I mean, yeah, the matches and stuff, they were really good, entertaining, really just fun to watch as well. I don't know. I actually feel like the way that they're like kind of booking Lyra Valkyria, especially for me right now, someone who's not as used to or accustomed to like her work, it's left me more intrigued to see what else she can do in the ring. So I I don't know. I think right now the way that they're booking her and how much screen time she's getting, it's actually working well. However, it's whether or not they drop the ball with her, and how they drop it. You know, we don't want this to be another flop, and right now she's being showcased well. So we'll see how things go. This is very much reminds me of, Tiffany Stratton when she first joined the main roster. You know, she still was showcased really well in a way where it intrigued people about her. They wanted to know more about her. So I feel like I'm getting that same vibe from Lyra Valkyria right now. And I'm interested to see what else she can do.
Yeah, right down. And Gina, you mentioned as well, talk about kind of Nia Jax, maybe getting a little push, beating Bianca Belair clean in the semi-final. And I know Belair was dealing with like kind of leg injury, but still, this was probably the cleanest victory or loss Belair's taken in years.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, what I was speaking about earlier was kind of like what the result would have been coming out of Jade versus Nia, whether it was going to be Nia versus Bianca or whether it was going to be Jade versus Bianca, and that we didn't want to do the Jade versus Bianca too soon for various reasons. But like, again, Nia getting that win over Jade, whether it was disqualification or not, and then Nia now coming into this against Bianca, and she probably was the underdog because everybody loves Bianca and expected her to get that win. Like, Nia getting that win just kind of shows the elevation that they were trying to push for her, and I'm glad that they did, because, again, I feel she deserves it. Since coming back to the show, she's just been putting other people over, which is great, but it's about time that she kind of get some sort of reward for that too, in my eyes.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then, like I said, in the other semi-final, Randy Orton beat Tama Tonga, with KO returning to help Randy. But Monty, I just want to speak to you quickly about this, because a lot of people with Tama, even the weird noise and stuff like that, are saying, oh, this is not the kind of Tama in New Japan. For me, I'm thinking, well, no, he probably wants to create something different, and the kind of the Haku influence is shining through for me. And again, I don't know if it's because I'm just old school in that way, you know?
I was just about to say, I think, and yeah, they can call us old, but that's what it is. Like, if you're familiar with King Haku or Ming in WCW, if you're familiar with what his father, how he wrestled and what his whole style was, and like you said, the savage, if you listen to commentary, they making sure that they say this about Tama consistently, savagery, and just like, and like the unhinged version. Like, this has always been an element. Even in New Japan, he had a little bit, but he was in the Bullet Club for like the most of his career. They are cool heels. He came off as way cooler, and then when in the last part of his career, he was a babyface. He was a Hantai, so he didn't necessarily need to lean into the Tongan element. But in the bloodline, that's pretty much the entire point at this point. That's the reason why Solo got him and T, like you mentioned, like the fact that the reason why he got Tama Tonga in this particular situation was because he's making this. It's a fictional point, but I love the point nonetheless of WWE not wanting anything to do with them while they were in New Japan because of not being able to control them. And I just love it because that's such a smart way to explain away why a guy like him, who's so accomplished, spent so much time in Japan, because he was on WWE radar for years, if we're talking about outside of kayfabe. But that Solo went and found them, and now this is what's going on. It's just, it fits very, very thing. And even with the noises, like you said, that's all his father. That is all, unhinged Tongan animalistic type of style that he's going for here. It's completely different than the Tama Tonga in New Japan, and that's a good thing because this is a completely different company, completely different situation. And now, if you're gonna put him in the bloodline, lean more into that. Now, if he was hanging out with AJ or with the Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, maybe I would say Tama probably should be doing more of the stuff he did when he was in New Japan in the Bullet Club, but he's not. He's in the bloodline, and it makes sense to lean more into his heritage because that's the reason why he's in the bloodline.
Yeah, without a doubt. So let's get on with it then. King and Queen of the Ring, May 25th, and kickoffs are now just countdowns. I'm not sure if I've just noticed, but there you go. We're in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Michael Cole and Corey Graves, Wade Barrett and Big E round off the host. First time inside the stadium for this. Saxton and Braxton outside Orton and Gunther's locker room for absolute no reason. Good interview between Graves and Cody, and Triple H talking up the King of the Ring. It's not a title, it's the next step up, and he's saying both winners will get title shots at SummerSlam. Owens joined the panel. Liv Morgan interviewed. She says she's never felt better. Dom is there for the match later. There's some really good videos on the history of the King of the Ring. I mean, it's not 2 hours worth, but still enjoyable. We did get a kickoff match. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. The Poison Pixie had inflicted a knee injury on Bianca Belair in the opening round. And the injury did rear its head, like we said, to the loss with Nia Jax, and Blair wanted revenge. The challengers targeted the injury, did an effective job of keeping Cargill out of the action. Once the Phenom tagged in, the championship chances dwindled to 0. Belair and Cargill worked together on a wheelbarrow DDT, followed by a wheelbarrow suplex. And they scored a victory 3 seconds later with the EST pinning LeRae to end that program. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this kickoff matchup?
I mean, it was what it was. You know, I didn't believe for a second that Jade and Bianca were losing this. So, and again, I just felt like it was over quite quickly. It was okay. It was an okay match between the women, but again, I just felt like, well, what was the point of this match being on here? Because I don't think that anyone truly believed that like Bianca and Jay were going to lose this, and it was over so quickly. So yeah, it did what it needed to do to showcase how well Jade and Bianca look. You know, so that was pretty much the purpose of it.
Well, it's so generic, Indy and LeRae's Titantron. You kind of knew they had no chance, but again, at least kind of an injury angle a little bit. And
they did play on that, so I appreciated that because I mean, again, going into this match, especially when it is on the kickoff, you're not thinking too much about a change of hands or anything like that. But I do appreciate the fact that they actually wanted to really make you believe that there was a chance with that injury angle and that they continued with that, you know? So I appreciate the match. It just, again, though, I don't feel like they gave it enough time, and there was plenty of time on the kickoff, but it was really quick. So
yeah, like you said,
they could have just done.
The match was too quick. The finish was great, though. It looked like LeRae was thrown out of the vehicle.
yeah. I mean, she just got absolutely dominated by both women at the end there, and they looked so powerful. It was great. It was a great ending, but just you could have given it time. You had enough time on the kickoff. You could have given it time.
Well, Blair skipping to the ring probably didn't help sell the knee. But Gina, I don't know about you, but the outfits were great this year. Rather than kind of like a T-shirt, they've got other things. But I never want to see Cargill covered up again. It's a crime against nature, goddammit.
Yeah, I mean, again, we get it in terms of, you know, trying to have the respect for the company and stuff, but still, it felt like a different Jade. And it's not a case of, oh, I need to see her skin to make her feel as powerful as she is. But it did just feel like these women just had to kind of strip back part of their power in a way, just to please another country. So yeah. Give me my power Jade back. I'll be happy with that.
Exactly. Out of 5, Jaxie, what would you score out of 5?
It was a 3. Like, again, really good, you know, ending, but I really didn't see the purpose of the match. I felt like it was roughly put together because there was no storyline behind it. So there was no way that any of us believed that there was going to be a different outcome other than Jade and Bianca winning. And they had so much time on the kickoff, and it was so quick. So for me, it just felt like a pointless match that you put on there just to say that you had a match on there. So 3.
Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I think 3 is fair. I might give it a 3.5. I'll give it a 3.5.
Monty, what's your score? And did you hate the match as much as Jaxie did?
No, Dave pretty much bullied me into appreciating anytime we get multiple women's matches in Saudi Arabia. After what it used to be, I'm thankful whenever we can get a match on there. I'm thankful whenever I can watch Jade and Bianca fight because it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I think that's the purpose. Just like the purpose is, I don't think Triple H this year is gonna book a PLE without Jade and Bianca on it. Even if it makes sense or not, as long as they're champions, he's probably gonna force a match, whether it makes a lot of sense or not. But yeah, no, like I said, we used to we couldn't get one match at the beginning for women, and now to get this match, even if it wasn't that long, I agree on that part. Like, it definitely should have been longer. It definitely should have been longer, but I think the quality of the match and what they were allowed to do, 100%. And the thing is, this is the thing about having Jade and Bianca. Give me a team that, honestly, I don't know a team really that's a women's team that's legit enough to where I think they got a chance to get Jade and Bianca anyway. So I don't take points off about my believability. I want to see my goal when I watch this team is like, can you even for a second make me think you got a chance? Because they're that dominant. And also the outfit thing, I 100% agree. I love the design, and I get what you're saying, James, about you never want to see that. But think about this. She is so well built that I saw her abs through the outfit.
Oh,
that's how great Jade is. Her abs popped through the outfit. So like, yeah, no, trust me, it didn't strip nothing away from my point of view in that situation. But yeah, the finish was excellent. I thought this was pretty much the best you can get with what they were given. And like I said, 3.5 is where I'm gonna get it because I'm not gonna take away from it. But yeah, I understand everything you guys said. It's just for me, like I said, the way things are over there, I'm happy whenever the women get something over there, man.
I gave it 3 3/4. Predictions. We've done our Prediction League 2024. So after Backlash, before King of the Ring, and of course Double or Nothing. Bonus League, Monty on 17, Gina on 13, I'm on 12, Jaxie on 8. WWE, Monty, Gina, James on 3, Jaxie on 1, and AEW, James, Gina, Jaxie 1, Monty on 0. We all went champs. We're all on 1. The main show, Women's World Championship, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. And Michael Cole and Corey Graves put over Morgan's recent second place finishes in the Rumble, the Chamber, the Battle Royal, basically any other big match that she has been in, setting the stage for the story to play out. Commentary team has improved so much over this past couple of years as well. Lynch applied the disarmer and Morgan countered into the rings of Saturn, only for the man to counter back to a finisher in a cool spot. Dominic Mysterio showed up. Did not go according to plan. Again, I don't know what the point of Dom helping when it looked like Lynch actually had it won, but distracting Lynch, unfortunately, we see Morgan doing what she hasn't done, and actually defeating Becky Lynch and becoming your new WWE Women's Champion, and of course, right in the latest chapter in her revenge tour. Gina, what are your thoughts on Liv? Liv Morgan did it.
I mean, I was so confused at the end that I was, I was so annoyed because in my head, when I was doing these predictions, I didn't want to go with Becky. I'm not going to lie to you. I only went with Becky because I kind of just figured she was going to get the win. She's the favorite and they hand her everything. So I was like, I'm going with Becky just for that statistic alone. And then Liv wins it. And I'm so confused. Is Dom helping her or not? Now, I will admit that I had missed the rule where there was like I don't think it was like fully emphasized on, but there was a clip where you could see like Liv Morgan coming out of the Judgment Day's locker room, I think it was.
It's been on every Raw.
Yeah, this is
What
Dom
you say?
trying to...
They've been doing stuff in the background on every Raw, to be honest. Like,
Okay, well,
yeah.
I have been oblivious, okay?
Dom's trying to
I've been
help Becky.
oblivious. I've not seen it.
This is what he's saying. There's nothing with Liv at the moment. It just seems...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No, they want you to be confused, but I think if you paying
they have,
attention,
well, they've
they're planting
succeeded.
seeds. Yeah, they want you to be confused because it don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, they definitely have succeeded with that in the sense of I am very confused, but I'm not going to lie. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for Liv to get it because I quite like her. I think her heel character is working very well for her at the moment, and I like her more for it rather than her coming out and moaning, trying to be a face and saying, I was taken out and now I'm being bullied, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I love? I like this heel Liv. It's working for me. And so her getting this win, I was happy for her. I'm just annoyed I didn't go with her for my prediction.
Yeah, but just think as well, Gina, what opens up, how pissed off Mummy is now. And with her and Dom together, they're going to be hated. And Ripley chasing them as well. It's just gonna be awesome.
Definitely. I mean, I can totally see like Paul Levesque just going to Liv and saying, okay, how would you like to be the most hated woman on the planet? Even more than you are right now for taking out Rhea. And she's like, what? Take her man. And everyone hates Dom anyway. So yeah, I can imagine that the hate these two are gonna get is gonna be unreal. But that's what they want, and you know, they're going to be doing their job right if that's the case. So I'm all here for it.
And Monty, like we talk about as well with Liv, she deserved this moment. You know, she's been chipping away, even back to like Riot Squad days and stuff like this, where it's like, oh, you've only got this job for one reason. She's shown she's super talented.
Definitely, she has a lot to bring to the table. She's also been in doing certain things in Hollywood and doing other things outside of wrestling, so she has that going for her too. So like she's been doing a lot to show that she has, like you said, just value more outside of whatever people assume about her. And I just think, honestly, my favorite thing about this is if you just pay attention, Liv Morgan from the beginning, even when she was whining as still claiming to be a face, she told Rhea, I'm going to take everything from you. And this just feels like the first step. The injury may not have been a part of this. I don't know if Dom was always going to end up possibly doing this. But, like, I think, honestly, like you said, it's been a whole lot of just little bit of seeds. Nothing you can say for sure. But JD has been popping up talking to Liv. Liv and Finn Balor was in the same vehicle randomly in the back shot of one of those opening scenes of a Raw a couple of weeks before this. So again, it's just like, what is going on? Like, is she trying to usurp Rhea in gym, like literally with Judgment Day also? And then I've seen threads online about, don't forget Finn Balor and Liv teamed up before Finn ever joined the Judgment Day. And I'm just like, wow, like you got the internet is going deep on this. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know exactly how far they're going to go with it. Will she take over? Well, how far it is, but I love where we're headed now because it's just like you mentioned, it's setting up a very great return for Rhea. She was already pretty much getting cheered and loved like a baby face anyway. Hell, I can say the same thing for Priest in a way, but we can talk about Priest later. But like both of them seem to be setting up to be not as heelish as we thought with the Judgment Day, and they don't seem, the ideologies are starting to clash. It's really interesting to see where we'll be in a few months from now when it comes to Judgment Day and just in general. But Liv being champion, I think, is the right move. And she, like you mentioned, she has earned this spot. And this also should be way better than anything she had to do with the Ronda. The other time she won the title and all that. I think this run can truly be something that she can make her own. And it goes back to what I said when Rhea got hurt. It's time for someone else to step up and build themselves to the level of a Rhea, and maybe through her tactics and just being, cerebral in a sense, maybe Liv Morgan can get herself there. So I love it. I love where we're heading right now, and I can't wait to see just how things play out. Is the internet just doing a bunch of theorizing, or are we on to something with a lot of the seeds being planted with Liv Morgan? Because again, she literally told Rhea, "I'm taking everything from you." So,
but I think that's the thing, though.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, like you said, everything in WWE at the moment seems to be happening for a reason. So, and it doesn't seem to be stopped after a couple of weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's even like and we're not even spoken about the kind of Uncle Howdy teases and the kind of it turned up in volume recent weeks as well. It's just been great stuff. And like I said, Liv just needs to keep taking the chances. I will say Becky wore a suit and Liv looked like Britney and Toxic. My God. Right. Becky Lynch, though, we'll talk about that. And Jaxie, because Becky can have a break now. My only issue with Becky is she calls her spots too loud. But obviously, she's kind of always in this position. But she is a hell of a talent. There's no doubt about that.
Who are you saying that towards me?
Yeah, say that towards you.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I have to agree with a lot of the statements that both of you guys have made about this match. Do you know what? I lost the prediction of this match, and I actually think that this was one of my favorite matches, and it was because I did not see this outcome coming. It was one of those that I went with the safe bet again, and this just goes to prove and goes to show you, do not always try and play it safe, because I did not see this coming, and I actually really enjoyed this. Exactly like what Monty said, I think that there's a lot of excitement as to what is going on with these backstage connections that Liv has to other members of the Judgment Day right now. And if anything, all this is proving to serve is that both Damien and Rhea are being sort of made baby faces by other people, and their constant involvement within the Judgment Day. So this has just left me even more intrigued to see where else things are going to go, and I'm actually really happy that I took the L here, and Liv got the win, because again, I think it was you, James, that brought up this sort of is starting to replace everything that kind of went on with Liv and her accomplishment with Ronda, because I think that fell flat for me. This feels a lot more real. And after, taking out Rhea and being like, I am going to take everything from you, I just really hope that they continue to elevate Liv here at this point, because right now the work she's doing is great.
Yeah, no, Monty said that, but we do sound similar. But so talk about scores then. Gina, out of 5, what would you score it?
I mean, the match was good and the crowd was fully hyped for both Becky and Liv, and that I could fully appreciate. It was a good match. I'm going to say, because of the sheer shock factor for me, obviously others wouldn't have seen all of the Dom coming out as a big of a shock as I did, because I'm dumb and didn't see the little Easter eggs they were dropping. But I was shocked. So for me, I'm going to give it a 4.25, because I thought that was so good in terms of I did not see this ending coming.
Yeah, not everybody can guess it, Monty, what would you score it?
Shut up, James.
Yeah, no, I thought this was top-notch stuff, man. It was really good wrestling. But like you mentioned, I think the storytelling from Liv finally getting a big win against Becky, and then you add in was Dom trying to do this on purpose? Why did Dom come out when he came out? Of course, Dom is gonna make it seem like right now it seems like he's saying that was whatever. But again, he's dirty Dominic Mysterio. The timing of it all, all of this is gonna come back. So it just got me intrigued for where we're going, and I think that's just one of the best ways to be after a big match. And there was a nice moment for Liv too. So yeah, man, I give it 4.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I gave it the same. I gave it 4 too.
Yeah, I'll give it 4.5. Really fun way to start properly. Predictions: the boys went Liv, the girls went Becky. Gina never confirmed the change. That's just something between me and her. Boys 2, girls 1. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed. The You Suck chants of Gable are enormous, and it's just going to work so well. They do need to bring Kurt Angle in, maybe, just for a couple of appearances, but maybe I'm dream booking. Yeah. Sami Zayn remains the most popular superstar in Saudi Arabia. At one point, the crowd turned their cell phone cameras and waved him as he unloaded rights on Gable. Gable appeared to suffer potentially serious ankle injury after Reed caught Zayn mid-flight and drove him onto the other. He returned to the ring with a picture-perfect moonsault to the Monster Hill for a close 2 count. The champion delivered a Blue Thunder bomb on Reed. Yeah, that's right. Gable delivered a double-stack German suplex to both opponents. And late in the bout, Gable berated Otis for not attacking Zayn on his orders. Big man fired up an attempt to clothesline the champion, only to accidentally level his coach. And Reed got hit with a haluva kick, and Sami Zayn retained. But my God, Monty, this was from the from the entrances to the end. This felt like an NXT takeover match.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also just being big fans of all three of these guys. We both. I know me and you talked about Bronson, in his Jonah days in New Japan. Like we've always been a big fan of him, and then Gable and the work he's doing as a heel. Like you mentioned, the Usuck. Anybody else could ever really get over. I thought Kurt's music was just too perfect, and it just, you know what I mean? But it fits, It's working, and I just love it. He even recreated a Kurt Angle spot with the double German of German and Bronson and Sammy, kind of like Kurt did Rey Mysterio and Randy in a triple threat way back in the day. So it was really, really cool. A lot of awesome moments. Like you mentioned, definitely gave off those takeover vibes, but we were talking about the King of the Ring terms, so I didn't get a chance to talk about a lot of the stuff that they're doing here. But another element of this match was definitely Otis, and I just love right now what they're doing with Otis. And I'm not trying to compare because I know people act like AEW and WWE shouldn't even be compared because it's going to start a fight. But it really got me thinking about that whole stuff that the devil and all that they trying to do with Wardlow. Like, oh my goodness, like look at how over Otis is and how everybody just can't wait for him to finally get a sense and turn on Gable. Then I compare that to the way they kind of fumbled Wardlow, or at least the way they presented it and made it so obvious that I'm not saying people won't be excited if Wardlow ever turns on Adam Cole. I'm just saying the way it was done, the way they talked about it, it's just like, oh my goodness. But Otis, literally in a couple weeks, seemed like he was one of the most over, and his involvement in this match made the story of this match even better for me. So this was great. The wrestling was great. I love the storytelling. I love everybody involved, and I just can't wait to see how this ends up. How does Gable finally get over the hump and get the belt? Does he ever get it? Will this be a SummerSlam thing? Like, how long they keep this going? And even with Bronson Reed's involvement, he never felt like he was just there. He fit perfectly too. This is just top-notch stuff, man. I love triple threat matches. I know I'm biased, but this is some of the best work you can get.
No, it really, really was good stuff. This was great, and two guys who haven't had that many PLEs as well. And like you said, Otis just gets a crowd to love him. We all remember kind of Mandy Rose thing. And I don't know, Jaxie, if it's just because people want to love Otis, but again, talk about who the crowd loves. Sami Zayn having a great kind of, even under the radar run at this moment as Intercontinental Champion, but just he is as popular as he ever has been.
Exactly. And, the pop that he got when he first came out, I think it was just, safe to say, like you said, that Sami Zayn continues to be the most popular wrestler in Saudi Arabia. It was really just a great match, and Monty brought up some really great points. And I have to say, there has been a series of triple threat matches across all companies that have just really impressed me a lot. And I've just been enjoying them ever since. This was a great match. I never felt like Bronson was just there to take a pin or anything like that. Everything there was like, it was storytelling done well. And yeah, everything about it was perfect for me.
I think we're out of doubt. And Gina, again, Monty mentioned it. When will Gable get his chance? But imagine the Creeds joining Gable at one point. He'll be unstoppable then.
Oh my God, I think that's quite an exciting thought, to be honest. That would do something, especially like more for the Creeds as well, because I'm not saying that they've kind of slid under the radar, but in a way they have been brought up to kind of just pop up every now and then. So yeah, no, I would like that. I think that would help them, and I think it would just help Gable's heel run to continue even after Otis. I don't want the whole Otis thing to blow up and then that's it for Chad Gable and there's no more story or no more interest in him. So I think pairing him with the Creeds would be good.
And if I'm Otis, I'm panicking because if you're getting hot around this time of year, you don't want to win Money in the Bank. He's not going. I'm not going to win Money in the Bank again. I'm not having that happening. And the other thing as well was Bronson Reed Dijak in disguise. That's how good he was in this matchup. Scores out of 5 then. Monty, what would you give it?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give this a 4.5, man. This is really good, man. One of my favorite matches of the night. If not my favorite match, we'll see. I have to go through my memory panels, but this was definitely some of the most fun I had.
Right, Jaxie?
I give this a 4.25. It was a really good match. I really enjoyed it.
Gina?
4 from me.
I'm going to give it 4 3/4. I love this. Again, I don't know if it's because I'm just predisposed to kind of what type of Saudi Arabian match or, this kind of thing now. I should really get used to kind of Triple H booking these shows like this, but it was just such a pleasant surprise. So 4 3/4. Predictions. Gina went Gable, rest went Sammy. So Gina's on 1, Jackson on 2, James and Monty on 3. Saxon interviewed women's tag champs and they said, who's stopping them? No one. No one is stopping them. Baratology, not mentioned it, but we see it on the kickoff and we saw it here again talking about how we got to the King and Queen of the Ring finals. Good stuff. Queen of the Ring final then, Lyra Valkyria versus Nia Jax. Of course, Lyra's biggest match of her short WWE career. And the WWE production team presented Valkyria as a star during her entrance. It's extraordinary stuff, really. I look at it in awe and go, that is unbelievable. She frustrated Jax early on, counting everything she threw at her until the Hills Power game took over. Of course, this was David versus Goliath. The former NXT Women's Champ Shine, throwing everything she had at a bigger and stronger opponent. Fortunately, it was a determination that failed her. During a sunset flip powerbomb off the ropes, Valkyria failed to muster the power she needed to bring Jax to the mat. Instead, the irresistible force dropped straight down, delivering what Graves called the gnarliest annihilator for the pinfall victory. We then see Triple H awarding a crown, and Nia Jax is the new Queen of the Ring. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this? I thought Lyra was squashed with the finish, but what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the match itself was really good, and I think that Lyra looked really good as sort of like the underdog, the sort of David versus the Goliath, sort of like type of match. I think they did really well in showcasing Nia as well. And this outcome, yeah, Lyra, she got squashed. It was one of those ones where you kind of didn't want to laugh, but you had to laugh because you were like, oh God, I'm not getting up from that. No one's getting up from that, So this overall, it did what it needed to do, but Nia needed to win. Like I could not see any outcome where like Lyra would win, and I think that like I was too presumptuous with going with Lyra because of that sort of David versus Goliath type of outlook, and I really should have seen this coming. The match itself made Nia look like incredible. And this is kind of like the same sort of level of how they made Shayna look way back when on that, one frightful night of Elimination Chamber. So, I mean, I'm see where things are going to go for Nia, because of you said that like the winners will actually get a chance at SummerSlam. So what, that's against Liv?
It would be on their brand, so it will be Nia versus Bayley. But we'll go into that a little bit more on SmackDown. Oh, okay. I think what's important is someone had to scrape Lyra off the canvas. But like we talk about Jaxie, Lyra, I think for me exceeded all expectations. She shows she belonged here when you think about, like I said, how recent the call-up is.
Yeah, exactly. I think the way that she was presented leading up to sort of this final match actually has done like a lot of good in even just like having her take this loss here. Like she's still solidified like how well she can do when on the main roster. So I'm intrigued to see what's next for her, especially when, as you said, we have seen like, here and there mentoring coming from the one and only Becky Lynch. So how much does that tell you about this whole situation? Like Becky has a lot of faith in Lyra maybe, so maybe we should too. I'm excited to see what else she's going to be doing.
Yeah, without doubt. And Gina, we talk about Nia Jax and Jax with real motion afterwards as well, and said no one's happy for her, but she will be at SummerSlam. And she does deserve this. She's been great since returning. You know, a lot of talk about, you know, Drew McIntyre's or like, you know, Bobby Lashley's going away. But Nia Jax, whatever time away she had, she's come back and she is motivated and deserved it.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I definitely am one of those people who is a fan for Nia Jax, and I truly do feel like she deserves this Queen of the Ring. Like I said earlier, she came back from being kind of, I don't know if she was let go or whether she just didn't re-sign her contract or something like that, but she was let go during the times that, you know, others were getting let go. And she's come back and she's put so many people over. For me, this is the type of reward I feel like she deserves. I'm not mad at it at all, and I loved that match. I actually thought she put Lyra over really well. She could have just made it look like a full-on squash match, but she didn't. You know, she put her over well as well, and I really loved her finisher because it gave it paid really nice homage to Yoko. Is it Yokozuna that did that?
Yeah, the
Pin,
bonsai drop.
where he
Yeah,
was sat
like
on top. Yeah, he sits on top of his opponents with his arms crossed, and
if
I thought that was a
Yokozuna
nice
had done
homage.
that, then the ring wouldn't be in existence. But like I said, at that point, even with Lyra's selling of it, was just incredible. You literally went, "Oh shit!" You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So again, I just thought all of that was put together brilliantly, and Nia deserves it. I feel like she's come back, put other people over. Now it's her time.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Monty, like Jackson Jr. said, you know, what a finish, but both work well together, and the future is bright. And again, it's King of the Ring tournament, but it's not just a winner here. You know, we're looking at a wider future as well.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard after that finish. How do you call Lyra a winner at all? But I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. 100%. Both ladies won, and I think the tournament overall wins. You know, just in general. We're talking about the men's in a second, but yeah, I mean, just incredible work. I 100% I agree with everything that's been said about Nia. I think the biggest thing too is not only just her attitude, but just a lot of things. Everything Nia has been done, her energy and effort level, week to week, promos, all of it has just been top notch since she's returned. She changed the narrative about herself, and not too many wrestlers. Once a lot of wrestlers get a narrative painted about them, whether it's all internet noise or whatever, it's hard to kind of flip that narrative. And I think 100%. You know, a lot of people was talking about how dangerous she were and whatever, but she's boring, whatever they want to say about Nia. And I think she's been anything but both of those things. She's been safe. She's had fun to really competitive, great matches. I even love the leading up to this, the match with Naomi, man. Oh my goodness, they absolutely killed it in a similar fashion. So, but like, yeah, a funny thing too, paying homage to Yokozuna is one thing, but it wasn't the man, the wrestle Yokozuna who was going to take the buzz I dropped like that. It wasn't anybody who was going to let him do it like that. But yeah, man, that finish, like you said, that's one of those things you can put on Nia's tape forever for the rest of her career, because that was some special stuff. And like you mentioned, Lyra really showed that she has the potential to be a star. And I love the entrance and how she looked. I think that, again, like you said, the presentation of her, if anything, is one thing that you just, you know, and a lot of people just show up, pop up, and they just wrestle. But for her to look like that and get this position, even though she lost, I thought it was incredible. And I'll have this to say to all my EO Sky fans: after that finish, are you? Because I know you don't want EO to take that finish.
No, that's lucky EO didn't. But we talk about as well, because Lyra took a sick bump, I think, against Dakota Kai with the kick as well. So again,
she's tough as hell. By the way,
careful, you know.
Like, think about all the stuff we've seen her go through. She's tough as hell. Lyra. She's tough.
And people might complain Lyra not winning, but don't worry, everybody, because the King of the Ring, like we talk about, in '98, The Rock was in the finals. If you can tell me who won it, fair play. But there we go. So you're finalists. So there's plenty of opportunity.
Rockabilly.
So anyway, scores for 5 out of 5. Jax versus Lyra.
I gave this a 4.25. I really enjoyed this match. I think both women looked great, and kudos to Lyra for being able to handle taking a pin like that. Yeah, really enjoyed it, and I'm actually intrigued to see what the next few current months hold in store for both women as an outcome of this match.
Without doubt, Gina.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 as well.
Monty.
Yeah, I give it a 4. And honestly, the way Nia's been presenting herself, I know this sounds crazy to me a few months ago, but I wouldn't be surprised if she walked out of SummerSlam on top.
Well, it's unbelievable stuff, and like I said, we're piping in as well. But, Bailey has not got a comfortable couple of months coming up. I give it 4 predictions. Jaxie went Lyra, rest went Nia, so Jaxie Gina on 2, James and Monty on 4. Becky was interviewed and has no idea why Dom was there, but she wants a rematch on Raw. And for some reason, I've had Gunther's theme stuck in my head for the past couple of weeks. It doesn't matter where I go, but I always get a Gunther, darling general. Really annoying. We saw his entrance here. I should say, though, as well, between Randy Orton and Gunther for the King of the Ring final. The only thing Randy has never won is King of the Ring. He will still have to wait, much like Gunther did during Orton's entrance. I don't know if Orton had a bet on, but by God, that was a long entrance. But we saw a grueling physical match. Saw both competitors beat the piss out of each other, punishing one another in pursuit of the King of the Ring crown and a shot at the world title at SummerSlam. And Monty, as you mentioned, Orton did some of his best selling of his career, putting over the injured back and bad knee that had been established before the match. The ring general exploited the weaknesses. The back prevented him from following up on one RKO, while the bad knee kept him from putting proper weight on the pinfall after a second. This allowed Gunther to grab a hold on him, execute a crucifix roll-up, and score the win. Gunther said afterwards, this is what he deserves, and what he deserves is nobody's business. The Apex Predator is prey, and the King General will become world champion. I'm not really arguing with that, but Gina, was Orton's shoulders up? Does it matter? Are we going to get more of this? And what were your thoughts on the match?
The match was awesome. The ending, I can't say it was the best ending to a match ever, especially of two wrestlers of this caliber. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, a surprise shock. I don't want to say roll-up pin, but it kind of is a roll-up pin, or a crucifix, however you want to call it. But I don't know. Sometimes those surprises do catch you off guard. I just don't know if it worked for me with this match. I don't know, because, again, it feels like there was a big, massive moment there. Gunther, kicked out of an RKO, which no one seems to be able to do. And he managed to also keep his wits about him to be able to scramble up this win, In terms of whether his shoulders were down or not, I don't know. Call VAR on that and get the ref in. I really don't know on whether that should count or not, but in a way, I'm not mad that Gunther got the win, but I'm just really confused on why they went with that ending,
It just seems weird how dominant Gunther's been. I can't remember, and again, Monty, maybe you can help, but Gunther winning like that in a matchup, even when he was defending the title, it was pretty decisive finishes,
No.
So
yeah.
again,
no, it's always decisive.
Yeah, so I think that's respect to kind of Randy there. And this was weird as well. And Jaxie, I don't know what you think about this, but it's kind of like old guard versus like the new generation. When someone like Randy, kind of synonymous for the past, and Gunther is just the future here. Seeing them two together, it's like, it's weird. We're kind of changing on the guards, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you said it right there. It does feel like that. I do feel like there was a slow the way the ending happened. When you compare something like the ending of Nia Jax's match, sorry, the impact of that win. I expected it I thought we'd get more of an impactful win for Gunther, not only to sort of put him over more as the winner of the King of the Ring, but put him over to say he just beat Randy Orton in, like, you know, that sort of way. He's a very, very much a strong contender for sort of WWE title picture at this point, if he's beating legends like Randy Orton. But the way he beat Randy, it was just a little bit of a question. And I know that they did it more as like a protection to Randy, who has just returned. But like, I don't know how much that took away from sort of like what they're currently trying to do with Gunther right now, and the level of power. But again, that being said, the level of this match actually was incredible. It was great from both sides, and I think it was Monty that said this earlier, but Randy just has a way of being able to sell all these moves, all these injuries, and actually really have you just fully in that moment with him. So you really are just going up and down in the match with him. This is one of my favorite matches of the night, I think, until the finish. It was so disappointing to get that type of finish.
I was going to say to you, like, if the Clash or Money in the Bank, whatever it is, if Gunther and Orton run it back and Gunther's decisive and it keeps him busy till SummerSlam, then I think it's a win-win anyway. But even if they don't, I still think it works.
Definitely. It did work. Both men worked really well together. I have no doubt we'll see them face off again. I just feel like, you know, for what they're trying to do with Gunther right now, they could have actually made him come out of the ending of this match could have actually made him come out of that match feeling even more powerful and stronger and a strong contender, you know?
Yeah, no, completely.
Would have greater impact.
Yeah, and again, it's weird Gunther's done what, you know, it's been talked about for a few years, but it has been a while of Intercontinental title, and now he is a main eventer. You know, even beating Orton like this, people are saying, well, yeah, Gunther would. But Monty, with Orton's injury history, it is a bit of a risk putting him in there with Gunther, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, even I was like, is this the best idea?
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, we also, I don't know what other option they had other than because, like, I don't at this point putting anybody in there. You put with Gunther is a risk, like, to be honest.
Let and Gunther wrestle every week. Like, just go on.
Right, yeah. I mean, you could be a newcomer and just decide, you know what, I don't want to be in this business anymore after a couple chops from Gunther or something. So I get it, but yeah, no, you're right. You know, the injury history. That's the reason. That's another thing. It's like it makes you wonder. It's like, Randy, are you just selling, or is this really how you feel now? Like, man, does it hurt that bad? That's why he's so good at selling, because he's really hurting. But no, this is good, man. I didn't have a problem with it. I even noticed on the right before it was slick, but you got to pay attention. Gunther slapped his knee, which I was like, was that like a little chop before the crucifix to the knee? And I'm like, is Gunther, like, how cerebral do you gotta be to just think to even while you're getting pinned to think to slap Randy's knee before you lock your pin in? But yeah, his shoulder was up, but again, I think even Triple H said, you know, after Randy was banged up, so they may do it again down the line, but it don't seem like it's going to be something that they have that's a priority. At the end of the day, the referee's decision is final. They always can go to that line whenever they want to, so it is what it is in that regard. Like you mentioned, James, it'd be nice to see them just to have another Gunther match at Clash. Why not? You know, but like you said, Randy is legitimately, I don't think he's been on TV since. So, you know, he might have been legitimately banged up. So, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Really good stuff, though. And the finish didn't take much from me because I don't mind it, because this is my thought process. Sometimes a roll-up can suck, but really, when it's these two, the only thing that flashed in my mind, like you mentioned, James, if it's not Clash, they're going to fight again. It's just simple as that. They're going to do this again at some point, because at some point, Gunther is going to have to powerbomb Randy, or however he decides to finish that match. Or Randy's going to have to actually beat him with an RKO, whatever. You can just, with guys this caliber, you have to have the thought process that at some point, if we're lucky, we're going to get that again, hopefully sooner than later. But I understand they're on two different brands, so we don't know. But yeah, this was good. I didn't have a problem with it. I do think it may have came sudden because we were all expecting that big cathartic finish, especially for a big King of the Ring final. But at the end of the day, Gunther winning and finding a way to survive, I don't mind it because, like you mentioned, James, it's something I'm not used to. I'm not used to Gunther having to survive anything. Some people have to survive Gunther. So it was kind of a nice little touch the more I thought about it, because it's just like, okay, even though we know they're on kind of like different ends of the spectrum, I still think it just made me be like, you know what? I did, because coming into this, I can't say I was thinking, you know what, Gunther and Randy Orton, man, I really want to see them do it. Not to say I had a problem with it, but like I think coming out of this match, I think all of us were like, you know what? I'll sign up for that again. Like let's let Gunther fight all the veterans who can still go. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a problem with it because there's chemistry with Sheamus, chemistry with Drew. All right, not that type of veteran. Not that type of veteran.
How many chops do you reckon?
Oh,
I don't go off piece, but like
two,
2, like
2, baby. He might get up after the first. Everyone gonna beg Rick, stay down. And, Rick can't stay down, and he's gonna take the second one, and that'll be it. We're gonna call Charlotte out there. Somebody got to save his life. But yeah, I don't know. But again, Gunther fighting anybody, I'm down for. But King of the Ring, I think we all. This the funny thing about Gunther, and I think you mentioned it too when he said he's gonna be the world champion. How can you doubt him? Because right after he lost the Intercontinental title, he said, "I'm gonna be the King of the Ring." Look what happened. It's like it's just when Gunther say he's gonna do something, it's like, how can I argue that you won't do it?
It's unbelievable. Scores out of 5, then. Gina, what would you give out of 5?
I think I gave this one a 4.5.
Jaxie?
Yeah, I gave this 4.5 too.
Monty?
Yep, exact same score for me, 4.5.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5 as well. Predictions all went Gunther, so James and Monty on 5, Jaxie Jr. on 4. Breaking news, Clash at the Castle, McIntyre versus Priest. The funniest thing about this announcement was the Saudi crowd thought they were getting the match. Gutted. Undisputed WWE Championship main events. Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. Rhodes dropped down to punch up at Paul, but the challenger blocked him and proved he'd been studying the champion. After ramming Rhodes into the ring steps, Paul focused on his opponent's midsection, even breaking out an Optimus submission. Cole correctly attributed the move to Antonio Inoki, to which Graves responded, made more famous by Logan Paul. See these two, classic bants. While Rhodes was preoccupied, one of the challenger's lackeys at ringside, business manager Jeff handed Paul a pair of brass knuckles with a heel used on the injured ribs. Paul delivered another viral high spot, delivering a frog splash from the top rope and driving Rhodes through the commentary table. Rhodes overcome the attack to the ribs with a weapon and a late low blow to stay in the fight. And Saudi Arabian actor and comedian Ibrahim El Haji was a special guest announcer to prevent the challenger from using the brass knuckles. The distraction allowed the champion to deliver 3 consecutive crossroads and retain the gold. Monty, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
I'm Cody Rhodes, bitch. Made me laugh. That's that made me laugh. But the camera shot too on that frog splash, man, that was beautiful. I just love the way we're doing things now, man. The shots, the drone shots, very, very cool. But anyway, yeah, man, I think if we're being honest, this match was really, really good. My whole problem I didn't have a big problem with the angle of having Logan Paul in this spot. Other thing is, just felt like, okay, well, Roman fought him in Saudi. All right, Cody, why don't you do it too? But I will say this is really good. And at the end of the day, I feel redundant because every time Logan has a big match, I come on here and I tell you, this dude is good. Like, he is really good. And I think this is another situation where it was like, it's good. No, I don't think anybody in their right mind thought he was going to come out of it on top. But it's just the performance and just the way he gets heat. It travels. He's good. He is legitimately worthy of his positioning. But like, do I think he's gonna be world champion one day and all that? Honestly, it probably depends on how often, or do he want to continue to do this, and will he want to devote himself to it more than he does already? And I've been impressed with the fact that he's done it as much as he has, because most of the time we've seen celebrities come and go. Like, he really feels like a WWE wrestler. I don't know about you guys, but to me,
no, but
at this point,
also, so but that was kind of Cody's point in the story of like,
right.
You know what I mean? If you want to go into this, you can, because like I said, he has got it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everybody can see that at this point. Like, you want to do this for honestly, legitimately, let's do. You can screw being a social media guy or influencer. You don't even need to do that. You can you really can do this. But I don't know. But I understand all the criticism though. People didn't like this or didn't want him here or thought this is wasting Cody's time. I can understand it. I do think it's hilarious, and this is just me. I think he beat AJ with one crossroads, right?
That's what
if I remember.
Yeah, literally three.
He did the same thing he did the Roman.
His last 3 pay-per-views, yeah.
He did the same thing he did the Roman to Logan Paul. So Logan Paul is on Roman Reigns' level of resiliency, guys. No, I'm sure one would have beat him, I hope. But anyway, yeah, this was good. I didn't have a problem with the match.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, maybe he was just mad. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. But no, this was good though. I thought the match itself was really, really good. Even if I didn't really care for Logan getting this spot over, let's just insert a couple anybody that you think would be a pretty good spot. And I think that's the problem pretty much with SmackDown is the top level heels right now. Like other than AJ and I guess inserting Logan here shows you is like, all right, who else can they insert right now that's even believable? Who's a legitimate bad guy? And I'm sure some things are going to happen as we go by to get Cody some more heels to fight at the top. Of course, we never know what they're going to do with the bloodline and all that going forward. So we'll see. But yeah, the match itself I thought was excellent stuff.
Yeah, but like you said, so many points, good points there. Let's talk about who could Cody face. And I should have mentioned with Randy Orton, if he was to turn heel, I'm not betting against him winning world title again. You know what I mean? And especially with a few with Cody.
No, me either.
Saudi is Logan's show as well. No Prime logo.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed that. It took me a while. I was like, no. But like I said, Logan and Saudi. And again, the 360 shot was his idea that he had like a year ago that he sent. And they were like, oh, not really sure. So he's thinking kind of outside of the ring as well.
Awesome.
Like that's what's really, really special
awesome.
about it. Like I said, Jaxie, of just how good Logan is. There was a really good moment with Corey Graves sticking up for Michael as well. I really liked that. But again, this matchup shouldn't have been as good as it was. That's what we keep saying.
No, I know. No, do you know what? Again, you guys brought up some really good points. And yeah, I didn't want to actually say that. I continuously say this with every event, premium live event that Logan Paul makes an appearance at and has a match in, where he just continues to improve in the ring, whether or not that's his wrestling material or even his interaction with the crowd and what riling them up, getting those type of responses. And I just feel like, even though I also agree with Monty, on a lot of the statements that he was making about sort of the finish and also I had questions, but how long until the novelty wears off on Logan and he's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, because I don't know how serious Logan is. Is Logan that serious to the point where he is strongly considering building a 10-year reputation within the WWE, or is this something that the novelty will wear off pretty soon and we're just waiting for that to happen, so in that aspect is kind of well, if you're not going to fully dedicate yourself, then can you stop taking up other people's screen time, because this opportunity could have gone to someone who is working towards a 10+ year career within WWE. And that's, again, not me trying to badmouth Logan Paul, because of I actually admire how much effort he has actually put into his current run within the WWE, and he's continuously gotten better. But it's for some reason when I watch his matches, it's I compliment him, and then it's instantly a dis-compliment, so to speak, and saying well, how long is he going to be here there?
Yeah.
Because if he's not going to be here long, then why was he giving us this type of match? But he had no right to actually have this good a match with Cody.
That's what I'm saying,
So it's a catch-22. There's ups and downs to watching Logan Paul wrestle. No one wants to, but he actually has a talent, and you can't take that away from him. you know?
No, it's like having, an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. You know they're no good for you, but by God, they rock your world, don't they? And speaking on that same thought, my dream, if we remember Cody's entrance, my dream is to be that fan that hugged Cody with the fans had his head on Cody's title. Apart from it being Drew and no
right
championship.
by his crotch.
No championship. All right. I was going to say no attire, but again, when are we ever going to get that? And Gina, I'm going to say something.
Wow.
And I think, Gina, you're going to agree, and I think it's going to blow your mind a little bit. But don't you think Logan Paul versus Will Ospreay could be the greatest match ever?
Oh, don't ask me that.
It would be low, wouldn't it?
I have a lovely relationship with Logan Paul. I don't like Logan Paul as a person. I really don't. But I do like him as a wrestler, and it's really hard to criticize his wrestling. I'd just be making it up or just lying for the sake of it, Do I think Will Ospreay versus Logan Paul would be a good match? Probably yes, but I really don't want to give him that satisfaction, so I'm just going to quickly move on.
Well, Logan Paul is the WWE's Will Ospreay. Have that. I'm going to see how many responses I get there.
But
that's
again, just all only out of your mouth. You don't speak on behalf of the rest of us, just FYI.
I will say, we'll agree that the comments that I make are mine only. And do not affect the opinions of anybody else on the podcast. But again, Gene, as we spoke about, a great main event. And again, talk about the show, we got here and it didn't feel we were here for too long. And again, it delivered,
Oh, definitely. It really did deliver. And like I said just now, I dislike Logan Paul as a person, but you cannot say that he can't wrestle. He's probably better than some of the other wrestlers who have been on the roster for a lot longer than Logan has. But he's got great ring awareness and he pulls moves off like he's been doing this all his life. So it's really hard to say he's had a bad match, because to be honest, he hasn't really in my eyes yet.
And the only thing I will say, just in case, just to play devil's advocate maybe a little bit, the difference between a Logan Paul and maybe everybody else, if he is only having these matches every now and again, and the kind of work that's going into it and the pre-planning and the kind of going through your spots, you can't do that if you're working every day. But again, you can see the work's coming off for Logan as well. Scores out of 5 then. Monty, what would you rate the main event?
Oh, it was damn good. I give it 4.5. This was really, really good stuff. Another great defense for Cody, and like you guys mentioned, with everything said about Logan, he's really good. And at the end of the day, I think that's kind of like what you can just appreciate, because, like you mentioned, people train their ass off for years and doesn't have the natural stuff. It's not even just the work; it's like the natural thing that he does sometimes. Where I'm like, man, he really gets it. So yeah, and him and Ospreay. I mean, Ospreay would cook with a broom. I say stuff like that all the time about Ospreay, but him and Logan, a guy who can get heat like Logan can. Oh, it'll be fun. Ospreay will also take his head off, but it'll be fun.
Jaxie, what would you score the main event?
I mean, yeah, I'd probably give this a 4.5. I enjoyed it. It did what it needed to. I don't like that it was with Logan Paul, but yeah, it was a good main event.
And Gina?
I'll give it a 4 3/4. It was a good match.
4 3/4. So that is your match of the night, but we'll do that in a second. Prediction first. All went Cody. So final scores: Jaxie Jr. on 4, Monty James on 6. So a WWE pay-per-view and bonus point for both of us. So Double Up Prediction League, Bonus League, Monty on 18. I joined Gina. Hi, Gina. On 13 points. Jaxie still on 8. In WWE, Monty James on 3. Gina on 2. Jaxie on 1. And, of course, AEW review next weekend. But we're talking about match of the... Or I should say, first off, because I don't want to, toot my own horn, but congratulations, Monty. You've been on fire with predictions. another WWE pay-per-view win, and another perfect score. So well done there.
Somehow, some way. But yeah, definitely. Shout out and good job to you too. Good job to you too. Good job to you too. You did awesome. You did awesome.
I did. We did. We're really good, aren't we? As long as we beat Jackson,
Yeah.
Gina.
All right, shut up.
Manpower.
After the pause,
Men rule the
we
world.
need to do it here.
Who run the world? Men.
Men. Yeah, we're men.
He's a man.
Yeah, I'm
such
such
a
a man.
man.
Tractors and Jeremy Clarkson, get in there.
Like we actually pulled together and let you men win.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Exactly. We gave it to you. We gave you this win.
Typical.
Yeah.
No one likes bad losers. So anyway, match of the night. Gina, your match of the night was the main event. Jaxie, you've scored Gunther and Orton and Cody Logan the same. So which one would have it for you?
Oh, I'm going Gunther. Gunther match.
There you go, Gunther. Monty, same with you as well. With 3 matches, triple threat, the Gunther and the Cody. So which one are you going to pick?
I'm biased, man. Triple threat. That takeover in me just I'm still hyped thinking about it. So yeah, triple threat. We're going triple threat.
I picked the triple threat as well. So MVP of the night. Monty, I'll start with you for MVP.
I feel like the biggest winner, besides of course the King and Queen, I'm going with Liv. I think it was a big time moment, and I'm just so interested in where it's so interesting the possibilities that they can go. Like I said, it can be Judgment Day usurper. It can just be taking Dom and Dom look like more of a slime ball. It can go so many different ways leading up to when Rhea returns that I'm really, really invested. I think that pop when Rhea's music hit or something, or however things turn out, is going to be incredible. And I think we're going to look back at the night that Liv was crowned champion as one of those moments that really set everything up for what we're going to get down the line with Rhea and Liv. So I'm going with Liv.
Great shout. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm going with the same as Monty. I think Liv just smashed it. And again, me being the naive bitch I am, I was shocked. I was truly shocked. So that ending for me, I felt like it was well deserved. But I also kind of want to just give a shout out to Nia Jax because I thought that she was a boss bitch.
Jaxie?
I too am going Liv on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Bronson Reed and Phil Gable because to not have any PLEs, I think they said it was Chad Gable's first PLE since like WrestleMania last year. So for these two guys to come on and cook like they did, really, really good stuff. So scores out of 10. Jaxie, I'll start with you. What would you score out of 10?
I'll give this a 7.5. I thought 7.75. It was a good enough pay-per-view. We wouldn't need to.
Gina?
I'm gonna go with 7.5.
Monty?
I'm going 8.5, man. These short, concise, to the point PLEs. It's just my style. I love the way Triple H put these things together. So I'm going 8.5.
I don't know if I'm a grizzled vet, but 7. I'm gonna give it a 9 because again, I lived through these 6-hour shows of shit.
Yes.
So to
oh my god.
To have a show of 3 hours, just fly by. Yeah, and more women than men wrestled as well. If you count the kickoff, 8 women, 7 men. So again, slight improvement.
Nice.
And I thought this was the best B show in a while. Like I said,
Okay, can I change my answer to 8 now, then? Because with those stats, just like that alone, having more women than men wrestle in a Saudi show, that actually gets an extra quarter point. So change mine to an 8, please.
Like I said, it's the best B show in the world. 9 for me. So before we go, Raw notes. The new King of the Ring, Gunther, start the show. He insulted the Archer Infantry, suggesting he is a champion defined by shortcuts, which brought the champ to the ring. Drew McIntyre soon followed, saying to Priest, "You're doing exactly the same thing that Seth Rollins did before WrestleMania and taking your eye off the ball." And even more interesting, Braun Strowman made his way to the ring admiring Priest's title. So, Jaxie, again, we've mentioned this is the difference in kind of Triple H booking, when it's like 3 or 4 kind of potential matchups there, just at an opening from Raw afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see because it just goes to show that they are building up more and more wrestlers, so it can only be exciting sort of like potential storylines that are being created at this point. I'm intrigued to see where things go, but I also kind of like how Gunther was like, he came out, he said his part, and then he was like, well, let me leave you two to it.
He didn't hang around, did he?
He was like, well, both of you two aren't my problem, any one of you are, so I'll let you two both sort it out until then,
Yeah, without a doubt. We see Bron Breakker ruining Ricochet versus Ilya 2. Monty, yeah, this is a shame, but they got more time, even with an interruption. And I don't know if you saw Bron like that kind of in the crowd, like,
creepy. Yeah.
But
And
these
then
3-man, like,
just the timing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and the fact, like you mentioned, like the fact that just like as much as it sucked that the match got interrupted, because again they were they were cooking. I think they were really about to hit another gear, if not about to wrap up something that was really good. But like just the fact that Bron Breakker and the way he's been presented, we haven't really talked about that, but like this anger all stemming from not being in the King of the Ring tournament. Oh, it's so excellent, man. And just the spear and just the way the reaction that the people are giving him, he's already being presented like someone who's going to be a big deal. Then we could be getting Braun and Dragunov or Breaker and Ricochet. Like I'm not opposed to any of these 3 doing it, or just a triple threat for even though it's not a title involved. And that's another thing I love about it. Like, and again, this is something that was missing in WWE at times, like storylines that doesn't have to have a direct relation to a title. It could lead to title implications down the line, maybe, but it doesn't have to have one involved. It's just a straight up storyline, and I think this is great. All 3 guys look good here for different reasons.
I have never. I'm not the biggest fan of The Miz, but I've never, I'm trying to think the right word. Like, me and Miz were kind of together on this one because Miz and R-Truth hung out at an ice cream truck, and Holiday A-lister got referred to himself as Vanilla, and then R-Truth asked him what he was, and of course,
what flavor was it, Jay?
Yeah. Well, it was strawberry, and again, with Kofi and Woods there going, yeah, what flavour was he? It's like, I know how the Miz felt. Right? And like I said, yeah, strawberry's
what flavor
fine.
Was he, James?
No, strawberry's fine. If you want to be strawberry, be strawberry. My favourite's mint choc chip, if we're going to do that. But, yeah, I felt for him. We see Maxine Dupree banished.
I actually was about to say, I really like mint chocolate chips, so the Miz should have just said that.
Oh my God, I got you, babe. See, that's a callback from earlier as well. Hey, Dupree was banished. Otis picked Gable for now in the steel cage match for the Women's World Championship. Braun Strowman rushed to the ring to chase McDonough around. He still turns into a Benny Hill sketch every now and again. As he did, he blasted Mysterio into the cage. The door slammed onto Lynch's head. Morgan escaped from there and retained the title. And even more confusing, Liv kissed Dom afterwards. Gina, you said you were confused earlier. I'm sure that's explained a few things now.
I mean, yes and no, because Dom kind of looked horrified and he also wasn't kissing back. So, again, like, don't get me wrong, we're breaking kayfabe and everything. We all know Dom is married to somebody who is not Liv Morgan. So we all know that.
Oh my goodness, is he? Wow.
Jesus.
So we all know that, if they are going with this storyline, we're all going to be thinking he's cheating on mommy, not even his actual real wife, because for us, we still see him as being with mommy. So again, it's going to add to that hate factor for sure. But Dom looked just as confused by the kiss. Or is that just me?
No,
I just don't get it. Maybe I don't know men. I don't know.
Well, I do, sister. And
Well,
I tell you what.
I'll let you know.
Did he look confused after that kiss, or was that
Let
just
me say
me?
it this way. If you're trying to keep somebody at home happy and you're getting this type of action from Liv, I think the best thing to do is to be act confused while the camera's on.
And
We don't know
also,
what he did when they went off there.
I think he's glad that he
It's
had
very true.
he had the 2 T-shirts as well around his waist.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Cover that up, my brother.
Yeah, we don't
yes,
know.
sir.
Finally,
Woof.
woof, oof. Finally, SmackDown notes. Paul Heyman had a breakdown. Bless him. Heyman is fantastic. Owens I thought Owens was going to hug him at one point, but didn't. Bailey was attacked by Piper Niven. What was even crazier was
awesome.
Piper Niven and Chelsea Green beat Naomi and Bailey. Have that. We spoke about it yesterday, Monty, on Update, and that's how I booked Chelsea Green. Let Piper Niven do everything and pick up the pieces.
Let Piper kill everybody and let Chelsea celebrate like she did it.
God beat the Profits. Again, this is huge, really, when you think about the Gorillas of Destiny, debuting on SmackDown. I mean, Monty, even after all years, did you think you'd get to this point?
It was, again, it's one of those things that was always like rumblings, but it was one of those things, like you mentioned, that you always thought about it. Maybe, possibly Tama would go, but he was New Japan loyal for so long. Tama and T, the whole entire family was New Japan strong for so long, and just like 7-time IWGP champions, like they established a legacy. No one has won more tag titles in Japan in the heavyweight division than those guys. So, to see them, I don't know if people who may not be as familiar with them know just how much of a big deal it is to have the possibility of them going against a New Day one day or a Usos one day. Like, if you've been a fan of both companies like me, New Japan and WWE, this is dream booking 101, man. You might as well bring Tanahashi over here and fight Cena.
Well, and also, finally, and I want to ask you this, Monty, as well, because you know of this moment, and again, professional wrestling does repeat itself, but AJ Styles in a pastel suit, which should have kind of given the game away.
It was a big sign.
He was going to retire, but instead did a Mark Henry and took out Cody Rhodes with a Styles clash off the stairs. 11 years, and again, people still fell for it. This was fantastic. We asked, what's next for Cody? And it's AJ.
AJ again. And I love it. I love the motivation. Like, this one is going to be different. They might even throw a stipulation, one of those classic, cage, something, I don't know, whatever Cody want to do. They're probably going to bleed this time, I think. It's like, it's going to be a little bit more personal because he played with Cody and he used them perfectly. But I agree. Once I saw that color suit, the pastel, don't ever trust a wrestler with a pastel talking about he's about to retire because the Mark Henry swerve was coming. He hit all the bells and whistles, perfectly done. Like you mentioned, I'll never forget what Mark Henry did to Cena. It was so well done. And this was just really good. This is one of those times where you kind of imitate yourself, and it works out amazingly because that was one of the best things that they ever did then. And then to bring it back and kind of pay it forward, have Gallows and Anderson there, too, to kind of like also play up to, damn, AJ might be really serious. He even mentioned his son graduating high school and all of that. And it's just like, oh, yeah, this is beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Great promo. Great finish. For a second there, I thought he was going to pile drive Cody through the steps.
Yeah, no, I thought more impact on the stairs, but again, I'm going, am I crazy?
Like, well, we're trying to kill Cody. Exactly. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you did what you did because I don't want you to hurt Cody. But yeah, it was an excellent way to finish that show.
Yeah, without doubt, and it sets the stage. Like we said, we know we're getting Cody versus AJ, and also we know we're getting Damien Priest versus Drew McIntyre. And in, like I said, 2 weeks' time, or was it 3 weeks, we're going to find out if Drew in Scotland can beat Damien Priest for the World Championship. That's next time we're going to do WWE Show. And of course, that is it for now. So don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find and listen to you?
At Mind of Monty Pod, or you can type in Mind of Monty on any of your platforms that you listen to podcasts. Yeah, definitely look me up at Mind Monty Pod. You'll get all my latest updates of what's going on, whether I'm being active, whether I'm doing anything creative. You guys will get it there first.
Right, now, Jaxie, where can people find and follow you? Not Jimmy.
I'm on Instagram and X at Jaxie Scarlett, as well as Twitch at Jaxie Scarlett. Pop in, say hi. We play horror RPGs. We also play indie games, so come say hi.
Awesome. And Gina, you the same?
Yep, on all the same platforms at Purple Pain.
And Dubbing also on Facebook and Instagram, because Google platforms even. Send us an email at dubbinapodcast@gmail.com. YouTube, Dubbing Podcast, where the latest clips and podcasts go at the same time. On YouTube, we do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode will be next Sunday, and it is AEW Double or Nothing. Until then, I've been James Rollins and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Now, I know predictions didn't go your way this week, but you must be quietly confident about AEW next week.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how we get on, but, we all know that AEW is more of a strength of mine, so we'll see whether or not next week I came out fighting.
Yeah, we'll see. And, of course, the mind of Monty. Monty, I appreciate you joining me for this double this weekend, but we got it done, man. Look how far we are now from where we started.
Right? It's really good to finally catch up, and it's always good to do a double when I actually won in predictions. I don't know if you noticed, there might be a correlation to when I'm ready to do a double.
Yeah,
if I get my ass whooped, maybe I don't want to do the double if I get my ass whooped. So we'll see.
And, of course, the genius of Gina. And, Gina, you got to remember one thing. I got you, babe.
Yeah, I got you, babe. I love that. Thank you. And until next time, watch me with AEW. I'm going to have to come back harder with this.
Yeah, she's coming hard, everybody. Watch it.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
Clip it, everybody. Thanks
they
for
were
listening,
my
everybody.
words.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.